If it's a corporation and you are a citizen / member of a corporation, there's nothing for you to be but a employee / servant.
Grand Risings, brothers and sisters. I want to welcome you to the Black News Network, BNN. This is from the desk of the emissary, Brother Warren Smith, a.k.a. Javier Ali. This is the Black News Network, the real voice of Black City, USA, bringing you the news from a Black perspective. We do not own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. You know, those clips I played in the beginning basically tells the whole story in a nutshell. It tells where we came from and how long it took us to get there and how we started on this journey with nothing but our bare feet and the rags on our back. That was a serious way for us to start a trip or a journey, but we started it because we had no choice but to start it that way. And when we did start it, we made it to where we are today. Just think how blessed and how fortunate we are for our genes to be where we are today, and for us to be able to spread our genes on to our grandkids and their grandkids and on down the line. That brings about a point of tenacity. It brings about a point of strength. It brings about the point of resiliency. It brings about the point of us being at a level of existence that cannot be matched by any other society, race, creed, color, or anything on this planet other than who we are. Now, the terms black, Negro, colored, nigger, all those terms are terms that they hold so dear for us to occupy. They want us to be considered those people, those African Americans, those Negroes, those blacks, those coloreds. They want us to maintain that title, so when we go out and apply for a job in their communities, those are the only choices we get when we're looking at their paperwork, because they're going to ask you, are you black? Are you African American? And you really want to get a job, so yes, you're going to say I'm one or the other. You don't care which one it is, but you're going to check whichever one's on that paper, because that's what we have been conditioned to do. Now, take a step back and think about what that actually is. All those names that I just mentioned, black, colored, Negro, chocolate, nigger, all the other ones, are slave names. Those are the names that were given to you. They were given to you in this United States of America. In the United States of America. Now, I wonder, are there any other countries that call other people you're a Moroccan American, you're a Chinese American, or Chinese black, or black Chinese? Do they call them black Chinese in China? Or do they call them black Japanese in Japan? Or do they call them African Chinese? You know what I mean? You're an African Chinese? Are you an African American? Are you a Korean Chinese? Are you a Korean? You know, I'm just throwing all these names out because who knows what other people are calling dark-skinned, melanated people in other countries. But here in America, the names that they have titled you with are not the names that your ancestry gave to you. You are not black. You are not African American. You are not Negro. Negro is a color, just like black is. You are none of these things that we have been so easily adopted to just to get along in this society. Now, back to that first clip that I played, 460 years of slavery, and then all of a sudden here comes 1966 when we decided that it was time for our black people to integrate, bring them off the plantation and put them in our community, let them go to our schools, and now everybody's equal. We all got the same opportunities and the same plan and the same schools. So what is there to complain about? There's a whole shitload of stuff to complain about. We have no reason to not think that there was a inequality already in the plan when they decided to integrate us into their schools. And then the federal government went so far as to force integration. And I think they forced that integration because they were aware that if they left us alone, then we as a society would have become so powerful that they would have to go to war with us, which they have anyway. They went to war with our black men. That's why you see black men getting gunned down by the hundreds every single year by the police, because they are in a position as the slave catchers, and they still got that mentality. That mentality is a black man has no right to challenge my authority in anything I got to say to you. If you challenge the police, you can just about bet your ass going to jail, because you have no right as a black, as a Negro, as a African American, as a colored person in the United States of America to challenge a police officer. You have no right. They will violate your rights. Now, this comes to the point what I was watching the other day. A lady had opened her door because the police knocked on it, and now the female officer put her foot in the door and wouldn't allow the lady to close the door. And before it was over with, they had 5 or 6 officers up in her house without a warrant. You know, they're gonna always come up with some shit that the neighbor called or we had probable cause. They're gonna come up with something to get in your house to see what the hell you got going on in there. You have no reason to open the damn door in the first place. Why did you open the door? That was your first mistake. We have to learn the law. If you stop making these mistakes, you'll stop being the victim. Every time you turn around, somebody's doing something stupid, and they end up getting dogged by the police, and ain't shit can be done about it because you messed up. Stop doing the things that they lure you into. They lure you into an argument. They lure you into opening your door. They lure you into getting out of your car. They lure you into conversations that you have no control over, and you think you can sit there and argue with the police. He ain't got nothing. That's his job. His job is to stand there and find a loophole in what you're talking about, so he can either put the dogs in your car, so he can put you out the car and put handcuffs on you and put you in the back of his car. And if you continue to be as ignorant and allow these things to happen, then it ain't nobody's fault but yours. All I'm saying is, wise up, my people. Wise up, because we are going down too fast, too many, all this time. And we no longer need to allow them to have the upper hand when this kind of knowledge is out here. I'm here to tell you, you have a Miranda right that you can use, but you never invoke it. How are you going to use it if you never invoke it? You got to use what you have available. The law is written for white people, but you have the same right to that same law. But if you never use the law, then you are just going to be the victim all the damn time. Stop being the victim and become the victim. And you're going to have to be the victor by knowing what your rights are and not letting them lure you into a situation where you will end up on somebody's concrete bench in somebody's jail. This is the Black News Network, BNN. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, I ask you right now to go to the channel and subscribe to the Black News Network. You can get me on Facebook. You can get me on Twitter. All you got to do is come in and listen. And if you don't like what I'm saying, tell me that. If you like what I'm talking about, Tell me that too. Let me know what you want me to talk about. But I need you to subscribe to my channel, because what I'm going to tell you are some things that nobody else is going to tell you about what's happening here in America. No, I love America just like you do. Don't tell me to go nowhere else, because I ain't going nowhere. I ain't leaving the country again in my life. Never. Because I have no business outside of these borders. I will not be a grinder chick getting locked up in Russia for some bull crap. That's all it was. So all I'm saying to you is, wise up. Wise up. And I don't want to say wise up black people. I'm going to say wise up my people. We go back to the beginning, back in 1966, when this really started happening. The ball started to get bigger. The snowball started to roll and get bigger. And now where we are now in 2022, and they are up the ante on everything and everybody. More people got killed in 2021 than in 1990. Black people by the police, that is. You know, why George Floyd had to get killed like that? Why Ahmaud Arbery had to get killed like that? Why somebody had to shoot at the FedEx truck just for doing his job in Vicksburg, Mississippi? There's so much stuff, and nobody's saying anything about it. Then this cop get up there and shot this girl. I can't think of a name right offhand, but he shot her in her own house on a wellness check. And now he got the audacity to get on the stand and cry like he saw a gun. No, damn well she had no gun. And even if she did, he had no business up in her house. He shot her through the window. That's the kind of stuff we have to deal with this day. When they decided to do integration, they did us the biggest injustice that they could have ever done to melanated people in this country, because it took us out of our own communities. And since then, we have yet to establish a community for black people. We don't have a community now, and that seems to be the problem with us. Until we can go back to getting our communities established and set up the way we supposed to, then we're going to have problems here, because nowhere in this country can you find a black neighborhood. If there is, tell me, I'm moving there. That's hereditary. That's old. That's been there since day one. Every black community that started in America ended up getting sunk or ran off, or people put it underwater, because they saw the money was turning over in our communities for months on end. And that is what they did not want. They did not want the money to continue to turn over in our neighborhood. So what did they do? They decided to go ahead and start moving us out of our neighborhoods. And if they couldn't move us out of our neighborhood, they burned us out. They took our neighborhoods and gave it to somebody else. You can imagine how much land right now to this day has been given to other people in this country. Black massacres. These are massacres that were started based on somebody saying something, that this black man did this. And all of a sudden, every white person in a 100-mile radius want to come kill a nigga. That's what they did. They all came there, and they all wanted a chance to kill them a nigga. And that's why I say right now, if you go to some of these old money white folks' houses right now, I will bet $100 to 50 cents that you can find something in that house that belongs to some black people, that they took from the black people houses that they burned down, that they took from the black people that they killed. They got people, black parts in jars. They got everything you can think of in these houses. There's a house in Mississippi, in Inverness, where I grew up, that nobody wants to go to, because they know that this house was a slave master's house, and that they burned black people there, and that they hung black people there. You didn't want to go down Compress Road. I remember when I was a child, we would never go down Compress Road, because there was something, I never knew what it was, but we would never go that way, because people had a tendency to come up missing if you went down Compress Road. Now ain't nothing but black people out there. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. All these little societies that are growing and flourishing are gone. Even my little hometown. The mayor of them little cities like that, they're not going to allow you to build anything in those cities because they want the people to remain on the plantation and to remain available to do the services that they need in that community, i.e., cook for their families, raise their babies, feed their babies, cut their yard, plant their cotton, pick their cotton, dry their tractor, and so on. That's the kind of stuff that they experience in those little communities. They are not going to let them grow. And when they see that they starting to pick up momentum, somebody going to pull the rug out and make sure they don't get no damn where. Don't let no tragic crisis happen, because if something tragic happens, it's all gone. It's gone. We had no privileges, no money, no property, but yet we were given equal rights and integration and told to go ahead and move into the neighborhoods we wanted to. But we ain't got no damn money. We can't buy shit. So how the hell we gonna move into those neighborhoods? Oh, the government had an idea after that. We will give y'all welfare. We will put your women up and your children up, but your man had no right to stay there. Put his ass out in the street where he can go get a job, and he ain't gonna get no job unless he's working for the white man, because the white man owns every damn thing. So now you gotta go out and figure out, you gotta be an inventor. That's why black people invented so much shit in this country, because they refuse to fall for what the white folks wanted them to do and be their servant. They learned how to come up with new things and innovation that made their lives better. And that's how black people really got started, by being inventors, by being thinkers, by being innovators, by being people that led the trail down roads that nobody else went down. You know, all this stuff that you experience in the day, the cell phone, the stoplight, the washing machine, the ironing board, the iron, all these little things that you take for granted, that Procter & Gamble and Siemens and all these other places got their name on shit. They got their name on shit because black people invented this stuff, but they couldn't put no patent on it because they didn't have the money to put the patent on it. And even if they did, the federal government would not have taken it and made it the way a patent for the black man. It wouldn't have happened. We had no privileges, no money, and no property. And now we own a little bit, but it ain't the way it's supposed to be. It's not equally divided. We still struggling. We still got to be part of this struggle. You sit back and you watch somebody get fired because they said they like Kanye West in a Home Depot in Los Angeles. They got fired. A young lady with 2 kids got fired because she was having a conversation with her friend, and she said, well, yeah, I like Kanye West. And some Jew behind her heard her say it and told her, say it again. She said it again, yeah, I like Kanye West. He went and got the manager fired the young lady. Now, all of a sudden, the lady ain't got no job. She can't take care of her family because of her feelings toward Kanye West. That's bullshit if I ever heard it. But it happens all over the country, everywhere. Black people get put into a situation, and when they defend their character and themselves, they get rolled off the range wet. They put them away. They get them out of the way. And they do this one person at a time. One over here, one over there, one up there, one down there. But see, if you are a melanated color and you don't feel that, something wrong with you. Because you cannot turn your back on all the stuff that's going on all across this country to our people. But yet we can spend $54 billion in the new budget that they're trying to approve to go to Ukraine, out of plus the 160 other $1 billion we done already sent over there. Now we get ready to send them Patriot missiles. Watch Russia drag us into this war. Because if you're sending Patriot missiles over there, you're sending soldiers over there to train them on those missiles. Now, nobody's talking about it yet on the news. Nobody's talking about Poland. Black people going to Poland. What the hell are you doing over there? They're sending soldiers over there from the United States Army, airmen over there from the United States Army to go over there, which Poland sits next to Ukraine, by the way, to train the Ukrainians on what they need to know on how to operate that equipment. You're getting closer and closer. Before you do it, there's going to be 100,000 U.S. soldiers, U.S. military personnel in Poland. And what's going to happen once they get there? They're going to end up easing closer to that border. And then what's going to happen? Russia going to end up hurting somebody over there on the American side. And now we got a world war, which is what we're headed towards if we don't get careful with what's happening in Ukraine. Ukraine, Russia will beat and beat and beat on their asses for time on end, and they're not going to stop. And when it gets to the point where they're not being effective anymore, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go for the extreme. That's what they're going to do. That's my prediction, and that's what I say, and that's what I see about what's happening in Ukraine right now. So all I'm saying is be careful, because we are going too far, too quick to back up another country, just like we did in Vietnam. We did France the same way. We obligated ourselves to France and ended up sending soldiers over there to France and ended up easing up out of Vietnam in a hurry, just like we did Afghanistan, easing up out of Afghanistan in a hurry. Everyone is equal, though. We have been environmentally damaged. We have been mentally damaged. We've been economically damaged. We've been damaged on every level. And the United States of America has not taken a single step to try and fix anything that they have caused to be on our race. They have not done a single thing. Now somebody said, oh, wait, they did the 13th Amendment. The hell with the 13th Amendment, because it puts them, well, if you didn't do this or if you didn't do that, you can have this. In other words, they can make it so you did this, and that way they can still violate your civil rights and violate you on the 13th Amendment. Why is it that so many incidents happen? We see so many videos of how black people get abused by the police, and you don't hear shit else about it because that police officer done disappeared in the woodworks. You don't hear nothing else because that's how they got it planned. That's the way it is. You know, in Africa, they have a lot of minerals, a lot of resources. For the last 20 years, China has been operating in Africa, giving them money, building up structures, but at the same time, they've been taking resources, but they've been giving a lot of money in China. So now America is getting wind of what's happening with China in Africa. So now on TV, instead of it being that shithole country Donald Trump was talking about a few years ago, now America's saying we stand with Africa. Okay, stand with Africa. Stand with the people that you took from Africa illegally and made them U.S. citizens or made them residents in the U.S., in the United States of America. That's what you did. Stand with them, and then maybe Africa would give you some damn airtime. You know, I cannot see how Africa is going to team up with America as long as America don't do right by what it did to the people it took from Africa. Until America does right by what it did with the people it took from Africa, then China is going to be Africa's partner, not America. So all I'm saying is do right with what you got. Don't try to act like ain't nothing happened here. It happened. You did it to us. You made us who we are today. We made ourselves get to the level we are today, but you made us this race of melanated people in America by abducting us from Africa and enslaving us into this country. Minerals are going to China right now. America promised Africa power when Barack Obama was president. You think they delivered on that promise? No. There's still millions of people in rural cities not having power in Africa. That's something we got to work with. Obama started that, but it never was finished. It was never followed up because Donald Trump called it a shithole country and refused to do anything with that treaty that President Obama signed. You know, we traded lately a drug dealer for a basketball player for Russia. Now, a lot of people don't know the background of this person that did all these arms deals, not drugs, but arms. He single-handedly, you seen the movie with one of these actors played. They used to take all these arms over to Afghanistan and in the Nicaragua, in the Africa, and give them to all these third world countries. That's the type of guy this was. He supplied them with all these militia weapons to overthrow the incumbent government. And where do you think he was getting those weapons from? I ain't gonna even answer that one. I'm gonna let you figure that one out. Qatar had just had the World Cup in soccer over there. Now, they had, over the building of the stadium for the World Cup, they lost more than 500 migrant workers. Now, when I say migrant workers, most of us think about people coming up to the southern border of Mexico. Now, these are migrant workers coming from Africa, Sudanese people. Qatar is where they just held the World Cup. You see it on the news every day. They have lost over 500 migrant workers death now. 500 migrant workers died building that place. And they've lost 2 since the World Cup started. And then they weren't paying these people. They would treat them like slaves. They really did these people bad. These migrant workers went over there to make money to take back to their motherland. But they got abused, and a lot of them can't get out, but they wanted to get out. Did the U.S. ever go back to find out what happened to us? I don't really think that nobody in this country has ever done a study on what happened with the African American race. There's been 100 books written on it, but they don't want our kids to know what they actually did. So most of those books have been banned from school. So they don't want to teach them how they treated our people during during slavery. So in order to hide the history, they ignore the history. You can't keep ignoring that big wart on the back of your head, America. There's a big wart back there, and if you don't address it and deal with it, it ain't gonna get no smaller. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and sooner or later, it's gonna pop all over you. So you're gonna have to do something about it sooner or later. Sooner or later. We've been emotionally, politically, educationally, economically damaged here in America. Everybody has suffered. I don't care if you got $1 million as a black person right now, or if you got $2. You have suffered. Even the millionaires have suffered. They have given up where they came from. Let's look at Charles Barkley. Let's look at Shaq. They all had something negative to say about Kyrie Irving. And I really, really hope that they don't say anything else about that man. Because Kyrie Irving did the best he can with what he had. You know, as I think about this and what happened here, I just keep wanting you to know that this is what he did. This is what he said. You know, I can't believe it. I'm going to play this one more time, and I want you to hear it, and please listen. Because this is not me talking. This is something that was said back in the 1960s, and it's prevalent today.
The house Negro and the field Negro. Now, the house Negro, he lived in the house.
We got an answer for what this idiot has done. We ain't talking about that. We're talking about this idiot. He should have been suspended.
He dressed pretty good. He ate pretty good with the master left. He loved his master.
Is it taking the level of responsibility, absorbing the level of responsibility that comes with it?
I say he loved his master better than the master loved himself. If the nice house here. He said, yeah, boss, we got.
Wanted to play again because I need you to see and hear the gravity of what they said. The gravity of what he's talking about is how deep this ignorance is about our people. And only if they knew how we managed to be who we are today and how we got to who we are today, then maybe they should understand better. The industry can throw money at you all day long, and they can put money in your pocket all day long. And if money makes you turn your back on who you are and where you come from, and it makes you say things about people that when you shouldn't say things about people, then you are a sucker for money. Yeah, and that's what the Bible talks about all the time. You know, it's easier for a camel to fit through an eye of a needle than a rich man to go to heaven. So y'all rich people out there with all that money, that you turn your back on what's real and what's not because you got the money and you don't want to lose it, go to hell. You know, and I like Shaq, and I just don't believe Shaq took the liberty to say what he said. You know, if you decided that you wanted to invest your money in crypto, then I feel for you right now, because somebody got to be billionaires out of that crypto money and other people got to be broke as hell. They took that money and invested it in the Bahamas and in other places, and they caused a lot of people to commit suicide because of that. You know, there's no reason for you to believe that this unregulated currency was worthy of you putting your dollar on it. If you got to put your dollar on something, you need to put it in gold or silver or some type of precious metals. But if you're putting it in cryptocurrency, then you're subject to lose a lot of money today. And that's a really sad thing, because the billionaire that founded all this crypto shit, his ass got arrested earlier last week. So I'm sorry, crypto is not the way to go. I suggest if you want to invest, do some real studying on what you're going to invest in, because there's a risk on every level when you're trying to invest. Be careful with that. Do y'all know who T.J. Holmes is? T.J. Holmes worked on, I believe it was CNN. CNN and T.J. Holmes had a good thing going. He was on Good Morning America, on there with Robin Roberts, and having a great old time and reporting the news. But TJ was slipping out on his wife, and he was tearing them up. He was banging the white women in the studio, and he got caught. So now you don't see him on Good Morning America anymore. So now you know why TJ is no longer TJ Holmes on Good Morning America. There are top 5 Sambos that are on the list of my list, and maybe other people's list too. There are 5 people that I want to classify as a #1 Sambo right now. Number one is Charles Barkley. He's probably the biggest Sambo I've seen yet, because he was one of the first ones to come out and say something negative about Kyrie Irving. The second one is Clarence Thomas. He's married to Jenny Thomas, who's a number one Donald Trump fan, and she'll dump Sambo so quick for Donald Trump it don't make no sense. She's violated so many codes and ethic violations messing with Donald Trump, and nobody seems to want to address that issue, so they leave that for it to fade away like they do slavery in America. They leave it to fade away. They think black people gonna shut the hell up and not say anything else about slavery. But the bottom line is, as long as your mouth is closed, you're not gonna get fed. And you ain't trying to get fed, you're just trying to get recognized that something is wrong with the way they are ignoring your past. Why won't America acknowledge what's going on with black people in America? And I use the term black loosely, because I know we're not black. I know we're not African American. And in reality, I think we all are of Moorish descent. One day, I'll go through that and tell you how. So look forward to the future for me to teach you and learn you how I went through that entire process. But I won't tell you until it's done. So you have to stay tuned with the Black News Network in order to get the real deal on exactly what happened and how long it took. And for me, it's taken an extremely long time, because I'm learning as I go. I'm not expecting anybody to teach me. I'm learning, and it's a hard way to go. You have to know what you're doing, though. You have to know what you're doing. And it's a benefit to it that you will learn as time goes on. You got Charles Barkley. You got Clarence Thomas. You got Herschel Walker. Oh, my goodness. That joker. Now you ain't heard shit from Herschel Walker lately, have you? Herschel Walker put himself out there to go up against Warnock and got his ass beat, and now the white folks ain't got nothing to do with it. He put his whole history, his whole life out there on point, on blast, and everybody had something to say about him. And now you can carry your ass home and play with your vampires and your warlocks. Stupid ass. The last one was T.J. Holmes. So I got Charles Barkley, Clarence Thomas, Herschel Walker, and T.J. Holmes as my top 5. There are more, but those are just my top 5. We're sending those Patriot missiles to Ukraine. One of the last topics I want to talk about is misdiagnosing your condition in the hospitals. Now, and then we're going to move into COVID. When you go to the doctor, you go because something is paining you, something is ailing you, but you have to be aware of what you're going in there for, because the doctor only going to spend 5 or 10 minutes with you, and then he's going to move on. And how in the hell can you think somebody can diagnose your entire history of what's going on with you in 10 damn minutes? They can't. All they want to do is get you processed. You do more time doing paperwork than you do getting to see the doctor. And they want to get that payment from the government. So the federal government pays them based on the patients they see every single day. And they don't give a damn about you. Once you understand that, you'll know when you go into the doctor office, it's your responsibility to tell that doctor what is ailing you and why you're in there. Because if you don't go in there telling them why you're there and what's ailing you, then they gonna give you what they want to give you. They gonna give you what they get paid to give you. You know, because pharmaceutical companies give the doctors freebies. They give them packets of medication, say, hey, try this medication, issue this medication, and every time you issue this medication, we'll give you a bonus. So they issue you this medication, they get that bonus, and the medication don't do nothing but make you sicker than what you were. It may give you a moment of relief, but I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, it ain't what you are being treated for. It ain't what's wrong with you. What you're being treated for ain't what's wrong with you. So you have to understand that now when you go back to the doctor, they're going to keep prescribing you that one medication that they just gave you, but then they're going to give you another medication to counteract that medication so you don't have this symptom. Then you got 2 medications you're taking. Now you go back again because you still got the same damn problem you had when you first went in the damn doctor's office. Now they give you another medication to circumscribe what happened with the second medication, which is supposed to have been dealing with the first medication. So you're taking 3 medications back to back to back every day, 2 or 3 times a day, that ain't doing shit for you. You still got the same pain that you went there the first time, but yet you're taking 3 additional medications to no avail. So you have to be aware of what the doctor is doing to you. You got to be aware if he's going to give you a shot. Don't give me no damn shot if I didn't ask for one. What the hell is in that vial? Why are you allowing them to shoot shit in your arm and you don't even know what it is? Why are you allowing them to give you pills and you don't know what it's supposed to do for you? All I'm saying is pay attention to your body when you go into that doctor office. You go in there for a shoulder ache and he giving you shit for a hip ache or an ankle ache or a knee ache. It don't work like that. You going in there because you got an upset stomach and he giving you shit for heartburn. You need to know what you're going in there for, and if you don't ask questions, if you don't tell the doctor what's wrong with you, and you don't ask the doctor, are you treating me for this stomach ache, what I came in here for, or what are you treating me for, doc? They don't like you asking them questions. Nobody does when they're in that type of profession. But it's your responsibility, and it's your taxpayer money paying the damn bill. So you have a right to know what they're putting in your body or what they're asking you to take. And then you go down, you don't know what the hell that piece of paper say. You go down to the pharmacy, I need to fill this prescription. They give you some shit you ain't never heard of, and you go home and start taking it. Just because some damn doctor who ain't as smart as you about your body told you to take it. You need to know before you take those pills, what are you taking? You need to, I've had up to 25 pills a day that the VA had prescribed to me. I'm down to 3. And I self-treated myself by coming off of all those medications over a year ago, over a year and a half ago. And I have more energy. I have more spunk. I feel better now because I'm not taking all them damn heavy drugs. Heavy drugs. One pill for spasms. One pill for pain. One pill for some other kind of shit. All these pain pills. You don't need that stuff. Learn what the doctor's trying to give you because it's killing you. And that is not what you want to do, is allow them to keep giving you medication that you don't need. And you can go to anybody's closet right now that you may know, and they probably got a shitload of pain pills up in that closet. And they ain't going to give them to you either, so don't ask. COVID right now, it's a secret manifestation of disease in America. Nobody wants to call it COVID. Right now, they want to call it a sinus infection. They want to call it a respiratory disease. But what is a respiratory disease? It's COVID, y'all. COVID is a respiratory disease. Nobody wants to tell you that COVID is on the way back up right now. And it's going up because everybody's playing dumb and ignorant like they don't know what it is. They know the hell what it is. Even in China just now relieved the strict restrictions that they had on the Chinese people. But the only way that happened is because they were fighting. They were protesting all the restrictions they had. So now COVID is running rapid in China. Millions of people are coming down with COVID. In order to go to McDonald's in China, you got to walk up to the McDonald's. You got to show that you had a recent COVID test. And if you ain't had a test within the last 6 hours or so, you have to take another one before you can buy any food to eat in McDonald's in China. And they got all the technology and all the apps set up at all the little stores where before they let you in the store, you have to show that you have a negative COVID test. That's the kind of shit that's China doing right now. And they are adamant about you being clear of this virus. What about America? You walk into Walmart, you see everybody all over the place. You go to the Spurs game, you see everybody all up in there, knee to knee, elbow to elbow, back to back, in the line, going to the concession stand. You see all these events going on across America. You see all these people on airplanes in America. You see all these things where people are elbow to elbow, knee to knee, foot to foot in these places, all over the place, and you don't know where the hell they been. You don't know what they got. You don't know if they got virus. You don't know what they got. But yet, you acting like they can get up in your face and talk to you up close and personal within your space zone and act like ain't nothing happening. Like they ain't got the virus. You don't know if they got the virus or not. They might have just came off of sick leave and back to work, and you sitting up in the office with no ventilation and you breathing in the shit that they breathing out. You end up sick next. But you don't come back as quickly as they do, because this your second and third time bouting shit that you've been fighting for the last 3 years. You're doing it that way because America is allowing it to happen without addressing it, just like they're doing with slavery or what they did to black people. They're trying to ignore it and hoping it'll go away. But it's not going away. It's going to stay right here, right in your face, until you address the situation the right way. You can keep thinking that you can ignore it and it'll go away, but it doesn't work that way. There was a black lady arrested, a teacher. She was arrested at a HBCU for not apologizing to a teacher. They locked her up, put the handcuffs on her. Then they locked up a 82-year-old woman, black woman, for not paying her water bill. Ain't that some shit? She only owed $72, and they put the handcuffs on her in Alabama for not paying her water bill. This is what America is going to. Elon Musk, the billionaire with all the billions of dollars, he bought Twitter, recently bought Twitter. Twitter has dropped $200 billion. $200 billion. He is no longer the richest man in the world. He paid $400 billion for it, but they lost over $200 billion. He was so mad that CNN was reporting this, that he suspended all CNN reporters from Twitter. Ain't that some shit? That's what they do. That's what they do. As you can see, that wintertime is here, the coolness is here, and if you're not prepared for what's about to happen, you need to get prepared, because it's fixing to get cold, and some things are going to start happening to people here, and ain't nothing we're going to be able to do about it. Only thing we can do is hope and pray that they can get through it. So prepare yourself for a really cold, a really foul, a really infectious winter, because it's coming. There were so many tornadoes in Louisiana last month that it's unbelievable. It might have been this month. 21 tornadoes in the state of Louisiana. Only 2 people died, though. That was the blessing. Uvalde, there are still stories coming up in Uvalde about how the police didn't do their job. Now, I got a question about all that shit that happened in Uvalde, Texas. Why did they not call SWAT? Was the SWAT team on scene? Now, Special Weapons and Tactics, SWAT. Wasn't that a situation for Special Weapons and Tactics? Why was SWAT not there? San Antonio got a SWAT. Why would they send regular police officers down there? DPS, Department of Public Service, got a SWAT team. Why wouldn't they send the SWAT team rather than the DPS officers? Because it's all a bunch of bullshit. These macho men that get on these teams and think they know what to do, but when the shit hit the fan and it's time for them to get out there and do it, they can't do shit. They let this kid kill 22 people in Uvalde at Robb Elementary School, and nobody called SWAT. That's kind of sad. Why did they not call SWAT? 1,000 soldiers are contemplating suicide every single day. When I say soldiers, I mean military. 1,000 military people are contemplating suicide every single day. If you have any thoughts about suicide, dial 988. That's a national number that you can dial and ask them to help you through that situation. Because there's no need, it can't get so bad where you need to take your own life. You can find help. Just ask. You know, people go through bullying, people go through domestic violence, people go through road rage. You know, sometimes you hit that point in life where you can't take another straw on the camel's back. And when that straw lands, you just lose every damn sense of reality and concept, and you want to hang it all up and give it all up, but you can't. You got too many people that love you and want to deal with you. And speaking of that, I want to go to my last topic of today, and that's about how brothers, black men, for one, are not in touch with their inner selves because they are not capable of telling another brother, I love you. How hard is it to say to your brother, I love you? Because you got this back mentality concept that they're going to think you gay just because you tell another man that you love them. Or they're going to think you queer because you're saying you love somebody. Or they're going to think you soft, you're a butterball because you tell somebody you love them. You know, that should not be the case, but it is in the black culture. Black men would much rather insult each other and talk shit to each other rather than to be nice to each other. Because the more you talk shit and live through it, the better friends you become, the better you are able to deal with things. You're not teaching each other anything more than hatred. You know, the hatred of thyself. That's what it actually boils down to when all you do is talk shit to each other rather than talk about what's going on for that day or give each other a great greeting for that day, try and uplift each other for that day, or try to make somebody's life better for that day and telling them you ain't shit rather than telling them you ain't shit. You need to get your shit together. You need to do this, you need to do that. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? We gotta learn as black men to not always want to fight with words. We gotta stop that fight. We gotta start trying to get along with each other a lot better and start communicating a lot better, because there's too many of us, too many other people already against us for us to be against us. Especially if we're in the hood killing each other or anywhere black killing black, you know, and don't think that we are topping the scales at blacks killing black, because we're not. White people kill more blacks than black kills blacks. So don't get it twisted. But they'll tell you in a minute, well, black people killing more black people than anybody else. They'll tell you, black people own slaves too. Okay, what's your point? The point is, they were slaves. The point is, somebody lost their life. That's the point. No matter who did it, somebody took it when they wasn't supposed to. So with all that, this is the Black News Network, the real voice of Military City, USA, bringing you the news from a black perspective. This is from the desk of the emissary, Brother War Smith, aka Jabir Ali. I want to tell you that I thank you for coming to the Black News channel on YouTube. I want to ask you to subscribe to my channel, because what I'm going to do is teach you something or tell you something that you're probably not going to hear anywhere else. You know, I might tell you stuff you already know, or try to tell or talk about stuff that you already know. And if that's the case, make a comment. Say something. Say something on the channel. Talk to me, y'all. This is War Smith signing out.